A few days had passed, and the time had arrived for the Staples family to be handed over to their buyers. The entire crew turned out for what was to be their final moments together. Nico was the first to enter the brig, followed by everyone else. The whole family looked on curiously, which was unusual. "Is everything all right?" Awo asked, concern clear in his voice. Nico smiled sadly as he deactivated the barrier that had barricaded them in. "I'm afraid this is where we must part ways." "What do you mean?" Weskel piped up, his piercing gaze fixed on the captain. Nico cleared his throat, meeting the young man's eyes. "You know what I mean, Weskel. We were hired to do a job, and this is where that job ends for my crew and me." The family exchanged worried glances, but it was W who spoke first. "Who are we being handed over to?" "If it's not too much to ask, Captain." His voice carried agitation mixed with uncharacteristic sarcasm. "The Kens," Nico answered calmly. The family collectively gasped. "No," Winona whispered weakly, instinctively pulling her boys closer. W shared her concern, fully aware of what Princess Clara and their son had just done to the traitor fleet, and especially to one of their members. His expression shifted from anger to submission. "Please, Captain, not them. Not House Ken or House Sinter. Any other house on the traitor side, just not them, please." Nico frowned, exhaling deeply. "I'm sorry. That's not how it works. I don't get to choose where you and your family go." He then gestured for them to move forward. Werrett stepped in front of his family defensively, holding them back. Cart raised his rifle at the act of defiance, but Nico signaled him to stand down. Meanwhile, Mira and Ada moved uneasily, weapons out, struggling with the weight of the situation. Wart hesitated, finally lowering his arms reluctantly. "Then just me. Please let them stay. You don't understand what they could do to us for revenge for our son wounding theirs." Nico shook his head. "If it were that simple, I would. But the arrangement is for all of you, not just one. Come along." Arguing is pointless. Defeated, Wart slowly lowered his gaze as the inevitability sank in. Mira and Ada moved forward, quietly gesturing for the Staples family to follow. They avoided locking eyes as they led them out. Nico noticed the boys had left their gear behind and sighed before following them to the transport. Ada and Cart secured the Staples family into their seats, placing bindings to ensure a smooth handoff. Winona quietly caught Cart's attention. He looked at her, puzzled by the gesture as the cuffs clicked into place. "Thank you for saving Wem," she said softly, her eyes filled with distress yet tinged with relief. "And I'm sorry for taking so long to say it." Her words carried the weight of someone preparing to face the worst, hoping a kind expression might offer reprieve. Cart's mouth opened slightly in surprise, then he simply nodded, not knowing what to say. Outside the ship, Nico turned to Myra. "Be safe out there, all right?" he said warmly. She straightened slightly, smiling at the rare concern in his tone. "Always, Captain," she replied, her grin widening. They lightly tapped each other's shoulders in a quick, friendly gesture before she headed up the loading ramp, and he turned to Weskel, who had been silently observing. Nico's eyes met his briefly. Weskel turned away, and Nico smiled in quiet approval before moving to the bridge. On the cramped bridge of a heavy freighter, recently renamed Bountiful Harvest, Kasten smirked as the ship entered the Mort Meta system, capital world of House Tempest. His mind was full of images of his family celebrating while he held the Staples family captive. Shaking off the pleasant thoughts, MTT focused on the task at hand. He maneuvered the freighter toward an orbiting station. "Unknown vessel. State your business," a voice commanded. "This is Lord Ken of the freighter Bountiful Harvest. Here to refuel and resupply on our way to House Tig in space." "Requesting docking permission," Ente replied smoothly. "Copy that, Bountiful Harvest. Remember, this is neutral space. House Tempest will not tolerate hostile actions within its territory," the tower warned. "I copy. Peaceful purposes only," Emmett assured, a practiced smile on his face. Docking was granted on Tube 17. EMTT wasted no time ordering supplies and demanding better rates, cutting off communications abruptly. While waiting for the deliveries, one dock worker finished a call, grabbed the fuel line, and attached a tiny tracking device to the fueling port panel. The tower operator approved silently, then restored the camera feed as if nothing had happened. The operation took less than 30 minutes, and Bountiful Harvest departed for the coordinates given by the mysterious auctioneers. TT leaned back in his chair, satisfied at how smoothly it had gone. House Tempest Station shrinking in the distance gave him a sense of superiority. They practically begged us to take their fuel, he muttered inside the station. The dock worker wiped his brow as the tower operator confirmed the tracking device was secure. Good, now it's out of our hands, he said. The encrypted signal would reach its intended destination soon. Out in the black, the freighter's engines thundered along, oblivious to the tiny beacon at its flank. As the ship neared the outer asteroid field, the sensor operator called out, "My lord." Ship detected on the edge of the field, just as expected. EMTT grinned. It's about time. Hope the Staples enjoyed their accommodations. Quite amusing that a ragtag group achieved what the Tigans could not. Send the friend or foe signal. Confirm the families aboard, and get paid, he ordered. Eyes gleaming with arrogance. The smaller craft approaching was Silent Runner. Mira received the come signal and patched it through to their relay. Nico muttered quietly, initiating the next phase. Go ahead, audio and visual, he said. The Castan Lord saw Nico, armor-clad and face concealed. Greetings, Bountiful Harvest, and welcome to the Murderment Menace system. To whom am I speaking? EMTT puffed out his chest, presenting authority. I am Lord Emmett Castan of House Ken. A slight fib, but he assumed the others would not know the difference. Nico inclined respectfully behind his visor. Honor indeed, Lord Emmett. Thank you for your promptness. House Ken ready for business? We are. Proof that you still have the family is required before transferring funds, Emmett stated. A wise precaution, my lord. Stand by for interior visuals, Nico replied. The visuals displayed the bound family, identities confirmed perfectly. EMTT smirked, amused by their distressed expressions. EMTT leaned back in his chair, savoring the apparent success. Everything's in order. Bring your ship forward and I'll initiate the transfer. Pardon, my lord. But the funds must be transferred first before docking, Nico stated firmly, carefully masking any defiance behind courtesy. EMTT grumbled but complied. Go ahead and transfer the funds. But mark my words, any attempt to flee and will destroy your ship, Staples aboard or not. Consider it noted, Lord Emmett. A fair transaction is all I seek, Nico replied with calm assurance. Seconds stretched painfully as the transfer completed. Nico turned to Amara. Ready? Always, Captain, she said, eyes gleaming with determination. The confirmation pinned in Nico's console. Transfer complete and verified. Fire when ready, Nico commanded softly. EMTT's confidence shattered in an instant. Weapons powered, ready to target the cargo shuttle, his officer reported. What? Shut them down. MTT roared, staring in disbelief. On the shuttle, Mira quickly initiated evasive maneuvers, powering up its point defense turrets while weaving through the asteroid field. Captain, I need cover. Missile lock detected. From the bridge of the Silent Runner, Nico observed quietly. Amara, knock it off. You told me to make it realistic, Amara replied. Almost sheepishly. Yes, but finish it before anyone gets hurt, Nico said. Closing his eyes, moments later, the Silent Runner emerged from behind an asteroid, turrets opening fire, intercepting the missile before it could strike the shuttle. A message appeared on EMTT's screen. That was unwise. EMTT panicked. We lost control. We surrender." His words were cut short as a particle beam slammed into the freighter's shields. Another beam ripped through the lower compartments, followed by a railgun round that shredded the bridge ceiling. "Venting everything to space." Double quotes, "Goodbye, my lord," Nico said with disdain. Watching the destruction unfold, the ship's AI, Amara, appeared on the projector. "Next time, a little less realism," Nico teased, though he couldn't hide a hint of exasperation at the damage. "Sorry, Captain," she replied, slumping slightly. "Databases adjusted for the narrative?" "Yes, some files were corrupted to simulate battle damage." "Any survivors?" "3 engineers in the stern." "Shall I vent them?" "No, keep them alive. They don't need to know anything," Nico decided. Orders given. The silent runner departed, heading for the nearest jump point. Meanwhile, a woman aboard a heavy freighter observed from sensor range. "So close," she muttered, storing the readings. Before she could act, a transmission arrived from 3 frigates with gunship support. "Civilian freighter, Murderment Mina System Patrol. Vacate immediately. Restricted area. Do you copy?" "Copy, Patrol." "Adjusting course," she replied, bored. Plotting a jump toward House Valvois territory, she left the scene. The patrol arrived at the wreckage of the bountiful harvest. Debris and bodies drifted in a cloud of destruction. Gunships hovered as shuttles carefully maneuvered through the wreckage, retrieving bodies and securing the area. Investigators entered the damaged freighter, mag boots clamping against twisted metal. Scorch marks lined the walls. Personal belongings floated in the airless corridors. This wasn't pirates. "Too much firepower, no attempt to claim cargo," one lieutenant noted. "Overkill. They didn't hit the core, thankfully." At the bridge, most controls were destroyed. A single terminal flickered with residual power. A partially corrupted audio log played, capturing Lord Emmett's mocking conversation with an unknown captain regarding the Staples transfer. The investigators exchanged grim glances. "Damn, they've stirred up a mess far beyond their system," muttered one. "Patch this back to command." "No word outside this team until verified," the lead investigator ordered. "Sir." 3 survivors detected, another reported. "Ensure their safety. They may provide crucial information," the commander ordered, eyes fixed on the drifting graveyard. "This isn't over," he muttered. In the silent void beyond the shattered remnants of the bountiful harvest, Nico allowed himself a rare breath of relief. The Staples family was safe, albeit shaken, and the freighter that had threatened them lay in pieces behind them. Mira guided the cargo shuttle carefully toward the silent runner. "Captain, that was too close," she muttered, glancing at the damage report. Sparks from minor hull breaches flickered on her console. "It's over," Nico replied calmly, though he didn't lower his guard. "Let's get them somewhere safe before the system patrols can investigate too closely." The Staples family, still bound in their restraints, exchanged tentative glances. The boys whispered among themselves while Winona held them close, trying to calm the fear that lingered. Nico stepped forward. "You're safe now," he assured them. "I know it's been frightening, but you're in good hands." Werrett exhaled heavily. "We owe you everything," he said, finally letting the tension drain from his shoulders. "Just follow instructions, and you'll all remain safe," Nico said. "No one else needs to get involved. And that includes House Ken." Meanwhile, back in House Ken's territory, the surviving fragments of the bountiful harvest patrols returned with reports of devastation. EMTD's arrogance had led him to underestimate his adversaries. His officers carefully reconstructed what had happened from the surviving communications and sensor logs. "Lord Emmett," one officer said hesitantly, "the ship was destroyed, and the Staples family is no longer in our possession." EMT's face twisted with disbelief. How could this happen? Every system was ours to control." "Unknown forces, my lord," the officer replied. They displayed precision and overwhelming firepower, far beyond anything we expected. The survivors report a shadow ship, the Silent Runner, involved in the operation. Impossible. MT spat, slamming his fist against the console. This will not go unpunished. Trace them. Hunt them down. Every one of them. Back on the Silent Runner, Nico monitored the Staples family's vitals and checked for signs of trauma. They'll need time to recover, but they'll be fine, he told Mira. The boys, still in shock, finally spoke quietly to each other. Did we really just survive that? One asked. Yes, Nico said gently, kneeling to meet their eyes. And from now on, you'll be protected. No one can touch you. Amara's holographic form appeared beside Nico. The simulation worked well. House Ken won't know what hit them. Yes, Nico nodded, watching the family begin to relax, even slightly. The danger has passed for now. Let's get them home safely. As the Silent Runner departed the system, a quiet determination settled over Nico. He knew House Ken would regroup, and other threats were still out there. But the Staples family was safe, and his crew had executed the plan flawlessly. He allowed himself a small smile, glancing at Myra. Another job completed. Another family saved. She returned the smile, though tired, her hands brushing against the console. And we did it without losing anyone. Nico's eyes narrowed, looking out at the stars. Not everyone sees it that way. But that's why we're the Black Ship. We do what others cannot. We protect those who have no one else to turn to. A soft hum filled the cabin as the Silent Runner accelerated toward the nearest jump point. In the distance, the shattered Bountiful Harvest lay motionless. A testament to both the ruthlessness of House Ken and the precision of Nico's team. Let's go home, he said quietly. The weight of the mission finally beginning to lift Dot, and for the first time in days, the crew allowed themselves a moment of peace, knowing that the Black Ship had once again fulfilled its purpose: justice, protection, and the quiet defiance of those who believed they could rule through fear.